Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. Domo arigato. Hi there, and welcome to the Mr. Ugly Show. I am your host, Mr. Ugly.
It's the Mr. Ugly Show, starring Mr. Ugly and the Human. Yes, got it.
I and my trusty helper, the Human, will be showing off different cool stuff the Human has collected, and will be telling you if it was worth collecting in the first place. If it's something relatively new, we'll tell you where you can get one of your own. This is part 2 of our 2-part look at female Transformers. This was supposed to come out in March, for Women's History Month. But, the Human's kids had spring break, the Human has a full-time job, life got in the way, and yada yada, here we are. So, our apologies. Mea culpa, folks. I do want to say that in the interim, the Human was able to locate one more Arcee to throw into this episode. So, there's a little bonus there for you. If you missed part 1, we'll throw a link up there. Is it there? I can't see it yet. Anyway, check it out. We talk about the history of female Transformers, and the Human goes on a rant about boobs in sci-fi. It's good stuff. Anyway, here we are, part 2. Let's kick it off with the most famous female Transformer of all, Arcee.
We're going to start with Arcee, since I'm sure that's the one everyone's here for anyway. I have here representations of Arcee from the G1 continuity, the live-action movies, and the Aligned continuity. That's a whole lot of nerdy jargon, so let's just simplify it to the pink one, the movie one, the blue one.
You are gonna get some hate mail for that one. Anyway, as we said before, Arcee was created for the Transformers animated movie in 1986. She was characterized as a more than capable warrior who was underestimated by opponents due to her gender. She was included in the 3rd season of the original cartoon as well, where she was given a relationship with the male Autobot Springer. Her motherly bond with human kid Daniel Witwicky from the movie continued into the cartoon, with Arcee eventually binary bonding with the fatally injured boy to save his life and become a headmaster. Essentially, the kid can transform into Arcee's head. It's as weird as it sounds. Anyway, she got a little less charitable treatment in the Japanese-only animated series, The Headmasters, where she doesn't become a headmaster. Instead, is basically the secretary for the other male Autobots.
Poor Arcee got the short end of the stick in other ways, too. She didn't get an official transforming toy until 2001. Previously, only a handful of non-transforming figures and statue kits of her robot mode had been produced. Even so, this first official figure was a BotCon exclusive, and not much more than a recolor of Transmetal Blackarachnia. In 2004, Transformers Energon gave us the first version of Arcee at regular old retail. She transforms into a motorcycle and is armed with an Energon longbow that can break down and become exhaust pipes for her alt mode, which is a motorcycle. There's a spring-loaded gimmick to launch an arrow or missile, but I seem to have lost mine over the years. The motorcycle mode would become her default characterization for Transformers media for most of the 2000s. She was supposed to be in the first live-action Transformers movie, and even had toys released for that version of the character, but she was cut from the script before filming. She did appear in the sequel, Revenge of the Fallen, where she was depicted as a 3-part entity, 3 motorcycles that transformed into separate robots, but shared a single consciousness.
In 2008, Arcee appeared in the excellent Transformers animated cartoon. It was based slightly on her G1 look. This Arcee was a former educator turned intelligence officer who had the unique ability to activate the Autobot superweapon, Omega Supreme. The animated series Transformers Prime had a version of Arcee as well. She was a blue motorcycle and a highly skilled hand-to-hand combatant. but she had deep-seated trust issues arising from what was basically PTSD.
It wasn't until 2014, for the 30th anniversary of Transformers, that we finally got a toy representing her actual G1 appearance. 3 years later, during the Titans Return toy line, which was basically a revival of the old Headmaster toys, we finally got a Headmaster version of Arcee, where her head transforms into a little Daniel Witwicky in his exosuit. First released in 2020 as War for Cybertron Earthrise Arcee, and then re-released in 2021 as War for Cybertron Kingdom Arcee, this version of Arcee is basically a woman folded up inside a car shell. The backpack can be detached and turns into an optional figure stand. Once again, here are all of my female Transformers figures. We covered the G1 fembots in the last episode when we talked about Orthia, and we also talked about Strongarm. That leaves us with Chromia, Windblade, Blackarachnia.
Based on the history we gave you in the first episode, you might believe Transformers is still an exclusionary IP with serious underrepresentation issues. During the lapse in the animated series, the ongoing saga of the Transformers was chronicled in first the Dreamwave and then IDW Publishing comic books. Female characters began showing up there in large numbers in the 2000s. Whereas females were scarce on the Cybertronian homeworld, this was not the case on the colony worlds. The comics also introduced the concept of same-gender romances between Transformers, and even trans-Transformers. Never mind that gender amongst non-reproducing mechanical species makes very little sense. The inclusion and representation of these types of characters is great and enhances the narrative and has increased the appeal of the stories being told. Chromia was a prominent character in IDW's Transformers comic books. Here she hails from the colony world Caminus. Her alt mode is nothing like her original boxy Cybertronian car. Instead, she's a sleek Tron-like motorcycle. She's a trusted friend and guardian to Windblade. We'll talk more about Windblade momentarily. Chromia has most recently joined the cast of the War for Cybertron trilogy series on Netflix, where she is once again a car. Now let's talk about Chromia's friend and a rather unique character in the Transformers universe, Windblade. Windblade has the distinction of being the first ever fan-created official Transformers character. Via a poll on Hasbro's official site, fans could choose characteristics of a brand new Transformers character, sort of like multiple choice. The distinctly geisha-esque design of the character was not part of the poll, and was something that the Hasbro designers came up with on their own. Windblade has remained a favorite of Transformers fans ever since her debut in 2014 in the Transformers More Than Meets the Eye. She has the unique power of City Speak, an ability that allows her to wake and communicate with the Titan Citybot Metroplex. Her alt mode is a sleek red jet with two large maneuverable turbines in her wings, giving her vertical flight capability. Her initial toy release was during the 30th anniversary Thrilling 30 imprint, but she's received toys in almost every toy line since then, including Titans Return and the more kid-focused Cyberverse lines. The human liked her so much, he even bought a third-party figure of her. This brings us to Blackarachnia, the gnarly spider chick. Okay, so gnarly subjective. For the full background on her, check out Chris McFeely's The Basics episode on Blackarachnia. Rather than reinvent the wheel, here's some highlights. In 1997, she was the first female Transformers toy sold at retail in the US. She was introduced in the Beast Wars cartoon series as a villain, but eventually fell in love with the heroic Maximal Silverbolt and switched sides to the Maximals to stop Megatron from altering history and destroying everything. The human doesn't have her original Beast Wars toy, or the Transmetal incarnation, but he does have a redeco of her Beast Machines toy from 2005. As well as her Transformers animated toy. and the recent Kingdom release, which is a new toy depicting a pretty screen-accurate version of her original Beast Wars appearance. Well, folks, that was our look at female Transformers as represented by the Humans collection. Thank you for sticking with us, since we were very late with this second part. Obviously, there are many more female characters in Transformers media than what the Human has represented in his toy collection, and many of them really don't have toys to collect. But that's not really unusual for any Transformers character. There's tons of male characters that don't have toys yet. Of course, the male characters do still outnumber the females by quite a wide margin there.
As a child of the 80s, I grew up in a climate where boy toys were boy toys, and girl toys were girl toys, and never should the two meet. Gender roles were very strictly defined. I find it refreshing, and a move in a positive direction, that much of that has changed. It's been slow, and sometimes painful, and there have been undeniable missteps along the way. But I think people today have more freedom to define their identities, and their gender identities, than we used to. And that's a good thing. As part of that, representation in popular media is important. The stories we tell each other help us to find our place in the world. I think it's great that these specific stories about transforming sentient mechanical life forms from an alien world have also evolved to be more inclusive. Now, if only we could get more official toys of those terrific characters.
Same, though if you started buying up every female or LGBTQ Transformers toy Hasbro released, Mom will probably kill you.
Thank you folks again for watching. We appreciate you and your views. We hope that our look at female Transformers gave you something to think about. If you liked what we did here, please give this video a like and consider subscribing. We're planning on doing more cool videos this year. Yeah, the schedule, we'll try and get them out on time. We're going to do a Deadpool anniversary episode, probably a Wolverine one, because, you know, Deadpool, Wolverine, they kind of go together. And we're still planning on a G.I. Joe episode with some new stuff and some old stuff. So, yeah, and of course, you know, more Transforming stuff. We'll see you next time, folks. Hey, you know what? If the wife does bump you off due to your collection habits, can I have your toys?